Board. Wow, that was cool.
Ooh.
Wow.
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 They also
All right.
asked to leave.
So
Okay,
you're good to go.
we're good to go. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for inviting us into your homes. This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper and notice of this meeting has been posted in public places. The next open public meeting of this council will be on June the 17th. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon.
Here.
Councilman Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly. Councilwoman Montone.
Here.
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Here.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Here, thank you very much. And we do know that Councilwoman lost some electricity and is trying to come on. Brian, if you see her first, please just announce her as joining us.
Sure.
And why don't you walk us through the workshop meeting? Welcome
Sure.
everyone to the Thursday, June 3rd, 2021 workshop meeting. Mr. Russell, please.
All right, so if you remember, we did pull an ordinance from last meeting. It's ordinance authorizing the permanent roadway easement through portions of land known as Block 162, Lot 11. There was a discrepancy on there of the block and lot numbers, and I believe that has now been rectified. And Lee, if you, okay, Lee is shaking his head and telling us that that's been rectified, so we are now good to move forward with that. Number two is also a resolution that we did pull from last meeting because there was a few questions, and that's authorizing the agreement with CME Associates for the LSRP engineering services at the Strathmore area pumping station for a cost of $49,750. Tonight, I do have Bahram on with us tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to him so he can explain this resolution. And I believe Councilman Cannon had a few questions. So I did want to bring Bahram on so he can answer Councilman's question and anyone else's questions from Mayor or Council. If everyone was good, they can then move forward. So Bahram, I'll turn it over to you. And if you can just give a little explanation here and then open it up to conversation.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council members. So CME has been doing LSRP services for the remediation of the former Strathmore area pump station. We have been doing work based on the previous authorization where we have completed a remedial investigation and submitted a remedial investigation report and remedial action work plan. And based on that previous authorization, we're on our way to complete the remedial action report, and which included monitoring groundwater quality for long term for about 8 quarters. And then DEP came back with comments to our report, the remedial investigation report that we submitted back in 2016, I believe, and then remedial action work plan 2019, and questioning or asking for additional investigation and perhaps more specifically ecological risk assessment. Reason is that the area has potential impact to wetlands and the stream, and there's sensitive areas. So they're forcing us to do additional investigation and come up with the ecological risk assessment. Based on the data that we had, we did have an initial risk assessment. So because of the potential impacts, they want us to go to the next step, which is an ecological risk assessment, which requires additional sampling and testing of microorganisms in the stream and whatnot. So we have to get a specialist who does that advanced ecological risk assessment based on our proposal of January 25, 2021. So the best case scenario, and we're hoping that the findings of this ecological risk assessment would require no additional investigation, And then we will be on our way to submitting the remedial action report and remedial action outcome, which means that no further action is required and site will have just basic deed restriction and or CEA for periodic monitoring of the groundwater. So the best case scenario will go on our business and close this case, but we have to do the investigation as mandated by DEP to come up with the ecological risk assessment, and we're hoping that the findings of that will render that no further investigation will be required.
Questions, anyone?
I had a few questions, Mayor.
Sure.
So my understanding of this was originally supposed to be done last month, right? Like the whole we were potentially going to get a no further action letter or an NFA last month, the last time we approved money for this project.
I don't know where you're referring to last month. There was no such commitment.
Well, we had a deadline. It was May 2021 to finish this project and finish it out, correct or no? I thought
deadlines are extended, Councilman, and so new deadline is because of the complication and DEP's comments, we asked for extension, so new deadline is May 7, 2023.
like so 2 more years.
Well, that doesn't mean that it's going to take 2 more years, but we do have the deadline has been extended because of the complexity of the project to May 2023.
Okay, but what is the next step after the ecological assessment?
Then hopefully the findings of the ecological assessments will conclude that no further investigation is required. Then we have completed our groundwater monitoring for 8 quarters based on our previous approval, and we'll prepare the remedial action report. Then I will issue the RAO. But since there will be either deed notice, I say either because deed notice we might eliminate it. There were some new changes in the DEP limits.
Okay, well, and just stepping back, let's do a couple things. One, let's not be so hopeful because we've been hopeful to the tune of $250,000 at this point into this property. And to be honest with you, I live here every day. And I haven't seen anything really dug out of the ground over there. Am I missing that? Is this all investigation? Are we digging chemicals out of the ground? And then what kind of property are we getting at the end after $300,000? Are we getting a problem? What is this deed notice and what does that restrict?
So let me talk about the first one. We're trying to avoid to do remedial investigation. I'm sorry, remedial action or remediation itself, because the contamination potential contamination is within the wetlands and in the stream. That's not an easy excavate and hold the contamination out. So that's what we have been doing and presenting to DEP that we don't need to get into the stream and clean up the sediments. So we submitted initial risk assessment. They wanted us to go and do more testing, and the second stage of the ecological assessment, ecological risk assessment, meaning we're going to look into microorganisms in the stream to see whether or not they're impacted. That's what the specialty consultant will do for us.
Okay, so all of this work is to get the DEP's permission to leave all of the contaminants in the ground.
Well, whatever have been identified, for example, in the groundwater, if we try to clean up the groundwater contamination to the current drinking water standards, that will be very expensive. So as an LSRP, we're allowed to monitor it for long term, which we did over 2 years. And then if we show a trend that this contamination is not going to, further impact different areas, then we're allowed to issue a remedial action report with the restriction that is that you cannot put potable well in that area. That will be the restriction, which most of the urban areas you cannot do anyhow.
Okay, so the D restriction would be no drawing drinking water out of the ground.
That's for the groundwater. I call it these restriction typically refers to soil contamination. I think we will eliminate that based on new relief that we have from the DEP. But the groundwater restriction, what we call the CEA, that I just explained.
Okay.
The restriction is that no potable well will be installed within that area.
And obviously, we're not asking for a detailed estimate, or I'm not asking for it at this moment. But what is a ballpark figure to dig it all out of the ground?
So again, this is not an upland area where we could simply say, okay, 10 by 20 or 50 by 30 excavation down to 2 feet or 4 feet, come up with quantification. The issue is that it will be very difficult to get into water and remediate wetlands and remediate the sediments and get all additional individual permits. We'll spend a lot of time and money getting those approvals from the NJDEP. But I did not, if you ask me directly how much it is, I did not get along that route to calculate how much it's going to cost us if we have to remove everything within the stream. But I could tell you that it will be much more expensive than $49,000 they were spending to collect additional sample and do this next level ecological risk assessment.
No, and obviously that's the opinion we literally pay you for, right? To advise us in the situation where we have contamination in our property. So I certainly appreciate that. But you understand that what I'm trying to decide is where it's not just this 50,000. I mean, we're like almost $300,000 into digging holes in the ground around the contamination functionally, right? And so it starts to become a question of, should we just dig the contamination out and not worry about it? Because the other question I have for you is, and I'm trying to understand the risk and the costs, and this is becoming a substantial endeavor. Not that it shouldn't be to make sure that the environment in Aberdeen is safe, but we're trying to make policy decisions. So one of the questions I had is it possible? And of course, we respect your expert opinion. That's why you're here. And if you can give us any guidance, if you can't give us a definitive answer, that would be okay. Is it possible that we do this ecological study and they find out that the microbes in the stream are severely infected and we're digging out the contamination anyway?
There could be. That's very severe. We don't expect that based on the data that we have. And that will be very expensive. And I'm hoping based on what we have seen so far that additional data that we actually were in the process of collecting, some of them we did, and the study that subcontractor is doing will get us out of that, forced remediation. Again, there's no guarantee. I'm an LSRP. I can put my opinion. But unfortunately, NJDEP is very sensitive in this ecological risk assessment issues. This is not the only project. Anytime there's any contamination that impacting the sensitive receptors, such as this project, they don't let it go. They will push you to the limits that they wanted to make sure that all the data necessary for the next step evaluation has been collected, and an expert prepares that ecological risk assessment to weigh the detriment that impact the sensitive areas might have. So based on the data, this expert will draw a conclusion that how much, if any, impact there is on this microorganisms. And again, the site itself is not a pristine area, right? It's an urban surrounding. So we're not going to look at the immediate location where we are. We're going to go upstream to show that this is, the life, I would say, microorganism life is inhibited, not just because of the potential discharge from the site, but because of its nature, the nature of the stream being in an urban area.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much for that. That was why we asked you to be here tonight, because we are, for as a municipality, these kinds of issues are just black holes, right? We're paying to get a property back to exactly the way it is right now in the condition. I understand the policy behind ensuring, ripple effects from allowing us to leave the contaminants to naturally decompose. So, okay, I understand the policy. I really appreciate your opinion in giving that to us. And of course, I also recognize their opinions. So and that is, no one's Superman, can see under the ground. So we're going to find out. But I appreciate you giving us that analysis so that we understand the risk, because that's really what we're trying to do. Is these are just black holes for us. This isn't a nice park that people get to enjoy or a road that people get to drive on. It's just a black hole to make sure that people aren't, for a good reason, but it's a black hole from a municipal perspective. So we appreciate you describing the nature of the black hole to us. It seems like we're on a track to try to make small bets to have it in place. And just for my edification, because I intend to live here for a long time, what contaminants exactly are in the ground and what is their natural decomposition rate? So let's say everything goes successfully here from a town finance standpoint and an environmental standpoint, and you're obviously making educated guesses on the data you already have about what we should do. What is the natural state when we leave it there? How long will it be there? When will it go away? Just because I live here, not for any particular scientific reason.
So, Councilman, if the impact was for volatile organics, whether it's in the soil medium or water medium, that will biodegrade much faster over time and perhaps disappear. It's just biodegrade. But the nature of contaminants that we have here, again, these are not high levels. If there were high levels and that much detrimental to the environment, as an LSRP, I wouldn't try to get out of it, right? I would have taken the step to clean it up. So the magnitude or the levels of contaminants, basically they are metals and there are some PCBs, but not high levels. Why we opted to leave it in place. And then, we have done an, initial ecological assessment, and DEP is simply asking us, go to the next level, take more data, and show me that what you're proposing is warranted.
Okay. And just one last question, and thanks again for obliging this, so there's a park obviously neighboring this property. There's also a solar farm. And so since the council is now investing a bunch of money in getting this property back to a usable state, and we're trying to think about what uses we might be doing on it, is what we're doing, will it leave it, what level can we use it unfettered? I mean, can we have a park? Can we expand the park into that area? Is it better to try to expand the solar field in that area and at least intense use? Is there any restrictions in that regard? Or I'm trying to get an order of magnitude on the contamination. Obviously, we couldn't do anything on South River Metals because it was toxic. I'm trying to understand the level here.
Right. So there should not be any restriction for upland use, so long as you respect the wetlands boundaries and whatnot. Again, the only restriction was deed notice. When you dig, you have to maintain that. You have to manage that contaminant soil, but that is also going away because of the levels. It has been increased, limits have been increased. So there should not be any upland restriction, except that, like in other property, if you're close by to wetlands, you have to respect the wetlands buffers and whatnot.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here tonight and answering our questions before we spent this money. I appreciate it. I feel confident in that we're on the right track. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Councilman.
Any other questions?
Councilman Hirsch? Artie, you're muted.
I understand what the $49,000 is for, and I appreciate the explanation, and I certainly want Aberdeen to be safe. But what are the odds of there being, besides the ultimate task of dredging out and cleaning out, if we have to go that route, which we are anticipating not having to do? Will there be additional charges or studies that we could be facing after this $49,000 for another X amount of money? Or do you think that this is really going to put an end to the expenditure to get this site cleaned up?
Right, right. An excellent question. So our intention is obviously to address all DEP's comments based on this round of sampling and preparation of risk assessment. I cannot guarantee you that nothing, DEP might come back and say, well, great, like 80% everything went on, but I want you to pick up a couple of, additional samples here and there. I cannot, we're trying to avoid that, but I cannot guarantee you that that's not going to happen. But what I can tell you is that with this additional money that we're spending right now, we'll put the township in a better position not to go into active remediation. We're hoping that we'll get to the finish line with this, this round. But again, it's the wisdom of DEP and its reviewer. And I cannot predict how they're going to react, but we're hoping that it will be a positive outcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for our guest? Brian, you see any hands?
Nope, you're all good.
Okay, very good. Brian, thank you so very, very much for joining us tonight and clarifying these points for us.
You're welcome, Mayor. Have a good evening to all.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Brian, I think there's one more item on.
And the final item is from the clerk's office, liquor license renewals for the 2021-2022 year.
Okay. And Madam Clerk, we are to, hate to use the word assume, but everything is cool with the PD and everything is in order for all these licenses, correct?
Everything's in order, yes.
Terrific. Thank you so very, very much. Any other questions on the workshop before we move on? No?
No,
No.
Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Can Deputy Mayor, can I have a motion to leave workshop into regular meeting, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion that we move from workshop this evening into our regular session of June
June the 3rd.
June 3rd.
June the 3rd. We might-
Second.
Okay, second, all in favor of that, please?
Aye.
Good, thank you so much. Again, welcome to the regular meeting of the Aberdeen Township Council for June 3rd. This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in public places. The next open public meeting of this council will be held on June 17th, 2021, and our manager might have an announcement on that later. So I would suggest you read the papers and notices. Welcome again to the Aberdeen Township Council regular meeting for June 3rd, 2021. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon,
Here.
Councilman Hirsch,
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly,
Here.
Councilwoman Montone,
Here.
Councilman Swindell,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
Here.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it should be noted that Councilwoman Kelly was on workshop and we're all in here now. Now I'd like very much to take a moment of silence, especially for our men and women in the military who protect us here and on foreign soil that allow us to have meetings like this. Of course, a moment of silence for all the doctors, nurses, and research folks who have gotten us to this point with the vaccine. and we keep them in our minds and heart. And now I allow you for your own personal intentions. And hopefully this flag will be retired soon. But till then, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty,
and
and justice
justice for all.
Thank you so very much. Now we'll do some committee reports. I have 3 quick ones, and I know the council has many reports for tonight. So we'll just tell the folks right now, Brian will probably expand on it also later, that we are just forging ahead now in total optimism that the worst is behind us with this pandemic. And the best thing for us to do as a township is to continue planning events as if everything was perfect. So Aberdeen Day meetings, July 4th meetings, movies, concerts are all in the planning stages for this coming year. And we've been meeting right along, and hopefully we will be able to present that to the residents of our great town. The other item, I was last Friday night, I attended Relay for Life, and Mr. Eric Friedman, who has just done a fabulous job over the past 9 years, I believe. It's an American Cancer fundraiser that usually held at the high school, and good times, the kids sleep over and they raise money. Well, in this particular case, he told me that in 9 years, the Mattawan Aberdeen community has raised over $10 million for the American Cancer Society through Relay for Life. So kudos to Mr. Friedman and his entire staff at Relay for Life. And that's it for me. I was going to mention something that we were informed by the county, that there are thousands of jobs available for folks looking for work. So I promised the commissioners that I would just make that quick statement. They can go to the website, the county website, where a lot of the job opportunities are. And we just make that announcement on behalf of the county commissioners. Councilman Swindell, I think you have a report for us.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. First of all, let me start out by just saying that I thank God every day for letting us get back to some type of normalcy. And then on a personal note, I'd like to thank Brian and John for a job well done on this past Memorial Day. Also, I'd like to thank our great police department, our fire department, our CERT team, and also our EMTs. And then along with all my fellow council members, for once and a year, after years that we've been isolated and stuck inside, but we was able to go and really enjoy each other this past Memorial Day, and really without a mask. So thank each and every one for who made it such a great day.
Thank you, Councilman. And of course, we all greatly pleased that we were able to get together like that. So well point, sir. Thank you so very much. Councilwoman Montone.
Good evening, everyone. Robert, I certainly agree with you. It was wonderful to be able to hold an event that felt like an event that we might have had a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when everything was safe. We began our day at a ceremony at Town Hall, attended by police, fire. Pastor Lee was there with someone from her church. Robert, can you help me with that? Who the person?
Assistant Pastor Denise Bell.
Denise Bell, Assistant Pastor Denise Bell. I'm so sorry, Denise, for not remembering your name. And CERT was there and the EMTs. We then after our ceremony at Town Hall, we moved on down to Veterans Park. And we then placed a wreath at the memorial down at Veterans Park. And I'm now going to turn it over to Ms. Kelly, who will tell you about the next part of our day.
I
Okay,
think
Oh, it wasn't Ms. Kelly. Who's doing that?
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Deputy Mayor Martucci, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Montone. I know we called Ms. Kelly there a little off guard.
yeah,
Again, it was it was a gorgeous day, obviously, God was looking down on us and gave us a beautiful day, Memorial Day, to honor our fallen heroes. If it wasn't for the people who have given up their lives and their time and effort to keep us safe and give us the opportunity to live into this great land, the land of America, the land of the free. It's just a beautiful opportunity. And again, to have been able to go to the VFW after the town hall meeting and the VFW meeting and to see the faces of those people who were there, relatives of the fallen, having had them again be honored, by the VFW chair people, was just a beautiful day. And again, the opportunity to spend a day outside without masks and with our fellow council members was just a very, very nice feeling that things are starting to get back to some type of normal lifestyle. And we look forward to continue moving into that lifestyle with the activities that will be coming up this summer.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now, Ms. Kelly.
yes. Well, we did have an in-person meeting of the Parks Committee yesterday, and I just wanted to report on the progress that the Parks Committee has been having with the we're making the renovation and renewal of some of our parks. We've done quite a few parks. They're completed. Right now, we're working on finishing up some parks. Fordham Park is just about complete. There's just being done some cosmetic work on the basketball court. But even if you don't have children to take to the park, you should look at, when you have a chance to go to Fordham Park, the playground equipment is off the hook. It really, really is wonderful what she's done with that playground equipment. So what we need is to finish the basketball court. And I think another bench is coming in, and that'll be completed. Bucket Park is almost done. We're just waiting for another piece of equipment for the smaller children to be placed in there. And I think we have to do something with the fence, and then that's done. We're doing some retouching up of Midland Park, minor stuff, but well, not so minor, but it'll make Midland Park look much better. And then we're going to work on our next two big projects, Ross Field and Cambridge Park. Those are big parks, so that's going to require a little bit of work. We're also scouting around and trying to find a spot to see if it's feasible to put up a pickleball courts. And we're all looking forward to that. That'll be
Yeah.
And then our last big project will be the grandfather of all parks, Just Stop.
Yeah. We'll get there. It's down the road. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I think Brian said it well, or our new rec director, Keith, said it very well. And these outdoor meetings can be very enjoyable,
Yes,
especially the day we had over at Fordham Park. So it was very good. Thank you for that report for Parks Committee. Councilman Hirsch, we're doing some work indoors too, right? You're on mute.
You're muted.
Here we go. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we are doing some renovations inside Town Hall. We are in the process of working on the courtroom renovation, as well as sprucing up, thank you, the lobby and the meeting room off the lobby. But the courtroom committee met yesterday, had a very productive meeting, went back to the architect to make a few tweaks on the audiovisual system and some of the colors and layouts. Once that's completed, new renderings will be offered to the committee for review, and upon acceptance, it will go out for bid. And after the bid, we'll figure out what we can and what we can't do. That's about it.
Terrific. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Cannon, any updates on roads and how we're progressing? And I mean, that's your forte, my friend.
Oh, yes, you guys know I ride around all the time, much to the chagrin of the engineers and the contractors, but that's neither here nor there. As you know, that our engineers closing out really 2019. We just need to get our NGDOT submissions for getting our money back from the roads that were paved last year, that were funded in 19, paved in 20, and now we go get the money back from the DOT. So we're working on that. In the 2020 year, Cortland Lane and Cornell Way have the basically the base down, as you the council's aware. And Brian obviously is, because he's the one who sent it out. There's a survey out for potential speed humps depending on the returns from Cortland Lane. And so the top coat is pending those results, and the final contractor work and the engineer clearing all the stuff that all the drainage, everything else they've done over there. And it looks, I drove down actually today. It really looks really nice. The neighborhood makes the neighborhood look a lot nicer, which is always the goal. They did a lot of drainage work, actually a lot more drainage work than I thought they were going to do as a part of the scope that I reviewed. And so hopefully that'll alleviate a lot of the problems for the homeowners between Cortland and the Board of Ed building, where they're getting a lot of the runoff from the new, well, not really, it's not really new, but relatively new for some of us who lived here for a long time, the new buses that they park back behind there, which has been going on for like over a decade, but the water's gotten worse and worse. It looks like a lot of the drainage has been restored back behind that area that the mayor and I visited a few years ago before we started taking on this project. So that looks like it's coming together pretty well. On County Road, the mill and pave has been slightly delayed because there's a water main that needs to be replaced under the road. It's the water main we hear about breaking all the time. So it's probably a good idea that we replace it before we put the new road over it, as always. And so that's, according to the township engineer, that should be accomplished potentially in July in terms of the water main replacement. And then we'll move forward on finishing County Road from end to end. That will finally complete that 4-year phased project, which was almost entirely paid for by the state. So it was great. I know that the people on County Road between Cliffwood and Rose are certainly long awaiting that. So that's coming up. Same thing on Atlantic. I was waiting for school to close and get the final stuff done on the pipes so that we can pave that road. And the mill and paves of Highfield, Gaston, Girard, and Sunnybrook are all being planned by the engineer. And I know that Brian requested proposals for the reconstructions of the entire interior of the A section. So that'll probably come at the same time. We have an ordinance on for adoption tonight to fully fund the interior of the A section. We already funded Iona Place, paving the rest of Cliffwood Avenue, Asbury Ardmore, and the other ones that I just mentioned. So that's coming along as well. Well, I'm sure we'll see that. So we'll see how much the engineering is for that, and we'll take a look when it comes in. But so that's where we're at. Our 2021 is funded, and we're getting the engineering. 2020 is engineered. We're waiting for them to build it. In 2019, we built. We're waiting for the money back. And that's basically the short summary of my report. Also, while I have the mic, I wanted to wish everyone, all our residents, all our LGBTQ residents, happy Pride Month. And I was going to request that our municipal clerk place a resolution on the next agenda, a proclamation for Pride Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman, very, very much for that report. And it's another real feel-good situation. Parks and roads are what our residents expect, and we deliver on that. I'd like to turn the report session over to our manager, who will also probably call on the chief tonight. So Brian, floor is
All right.
yours.
I'll start with the chief and then come back to me. So Chief, anything on your side?
All right, I have our monthly or weekly COVID stats, which are excellent. Our total so far to date, and this is week 62, is 1904. We currently have 30 active in the town, and we only have one new case since 5/26, which is pretty outstanding. I don't know. Those are probably the lowest numbers I've seen since doing this.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to bring up, while I have the mic, those of you may or may not know that the state is requiring all the police departments to have body cams. That was supposed to be by June 1st, but that's not a realistic date. We were required to put in some paperwork, which Captain Lloyd took care of. That paperwork had to be in by a certain date, and what that does is that's going to let you know how much the state is giving us to jumpstart this project. Not everybody got money. We did well, I think, and I think what's going to have to happen is we're going to get together with the CFO and again with the captain, and we're going to sit down and work out the rest of the money. And what's going to happen is, you know, basically, if the people of the town ask, or anybody asks, it'll be, you know, they are on order. We are one of the fortunate ones to have excellent car cameras in our cars right now. There are towns in Monmouth County and in the state that don't have anything in their cars. So although we don't have our body cams yet, they will be ordered shortly. And in the coming weeks, we'll be sitting down with Angela and working out the print on that. We can get them ordered. But, you know, we will be in compliance as fast as we can. And like I said, again, I owe a lot to Captain Lloyd, who submitted the paperwork in a timely manner and got us the money that helped jumpstart this project. And that's all I got.
And Chief, that was a grant also, correct?
Right, that was the paperwork that Captain Lloyd submitted.
Do we want to, can we make that known what we received?
I have no problem. We, and I'm sure Captain Lloyd will correct me, I believe it was 86,000.
81,520.
There
Yeah,
you
so
go.
that, I mean, that's a great job. If I could just cut in real quick, Chief, I think it's a great job with the command staff and all of you guys, and former Chief Darrell Hilo. I know he was a part of it as well, but kudos to you guys for working on getting that grant to help fund the body cameras, because if we didn't get that money, we'd be hurting in the budget to pay for all these. That's, again, state mandate, but most of it was you guys got to fund it yourself. And again, Chief Geyer and Captain Lloyd and the rest of the command staff worked very hard to make sure that the grant was submitted and that we got, you know, again, we you know, you're never going to get 100%, but they definitely fought to get as much as they could. And I think 81,000 is a good start. And I know we still need some more, but again, that was great to get that taken care of. So good job to the PD and command staff for that.
Thank you.
Going off of that, with hearing some of these good numbers, and again, we've been following them day by day, really, to see where we're at in the county and in the town. So I'll first start off with, again, this week we did start opening, Town Hall is now open to the public. So every day, 8:30 to 4:30, Town Hall is open. And we have been glad to see many residents coming in. And I know our staff is happy to see people, and I know the residents are happy to be back. So Town Hall is open to residents. Our facilities are available. And if you don't want to come in, we still have our drop boxes on both sides of the building. So you're more than welcome to drop things off. But again, you can come in. And as of right now, we still are asking you to wear your mask in the building, in the public spaces. But and as time goes on, we know we'll be lifting more of those precautions as well. Other good news, yes, as the mayor's kind of hinted to a few times here tonight, but sadly for some of you, this will be our last Zoom meeting. June 17th, we will have we will be back in the council chambers conducting our council meetings in person. I think we're all very happy to be back. The building is, you know, we've done all of our safety precautions as much as we've had to do. And I hope that some of those will be able to be lifted also as time goes on. But again, our next council meeting on June 17th at 7:30 will be at Town Hall in the council chambers in person. So again, can't wait to see everybody back in our seats and sitting there conducting our business instead of always seeing each other on our tiles. Yes, this week we did slowly start to do some meetings in-house and off of Zoom, so that's been great too. So residents should start keeping a lookout for their announcements for Aberdeen Day, July 4th, our summer concert series. Everything's basically set. We're just doing a couple tweaks on a few things, and we will be able to announce our full schedules so everyone does know. And again, we're trying to bring as normal 2021 as possible and get people back to enjoying life as we did in early 2020 and all of 19. Two other important announcements that I have from the clerk's office. A reminder that primary election day is Tuesday, June 18th. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And a very important reminder, and we will keep announcing this out as we've been doing to these areas. If you vote at the Matawan United Methodist Church, you now vote at the Hudson Ridge Senior Center, which is 100 Church Street. So if you do vote in the old location, do not go there on Tuesday. Please go to the Hudson Ridge Senior Center at 100 Church Street between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. to vote. And Mayor, the rest that I have will be for executive session. I have
Okay.
nothing else at this time.
Well, thank you very much, Chief and Brian. Appreciate it greatly. We'll move on to agenda item number 5. It's the hearing of the citizens, and this would be on agenda items only. New business would be a few numbers away. So right now, hearing of the citizens, agenda items only. Might be the last time you have to do this, but a thumb up, a hand up, indicate to Brian that you have a question at this time. And Brian and I will try to scan these little squares here. I'm coming up empty,
I was
Brian.
gonna say I have nothing at this time.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I'll move on to number 6 and call on Councilman Hirsch.
Thank you, Mayor. To the mayor, deputy mayor, and fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of workshop, regular, and executive meetings of February 18th, 2021.
Second,
Second,
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly,
yes.
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes,
Councilman Swindell,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
yes,
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, thank you very much. Moving on to 7A, bond ordinance number 8, 2021, introduced and passed on first reading on May 20th, 2021, and published according to law. Affidavit of publication of this ordinance in the Asbury Park Press issue of May 25th, 2021 will be submitted, and is noted that a copy of the ordinance has been posted on a bulletin board in the doors of Town Hall, and that copies were available to the general public upon request. Madam Clerk.
Bond ordinance providing for the reconstruction of Ordam Lane in and by the Township of Aberdeen in County of Monmouth, New Jersey, appropriating $1,100,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $990,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you so much. I'd like to open this meeting now to the public for remarks or comments for or against the final adoption of this bond ordinance. Anybody who would like to be heard, just raise a hand or a thumb up and Brian, I think I'm,
Nothing, Mayor.
coming up blank on that. Deputy Mayor, would you do the formal motion, please?
yes, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Taglerini, our mayor, and my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion that bond ordinance number 8, 2021 be finally passed and adopted, and that notice of its passage and adoption be published by summary in the June 28th, 2021 issue of the Asbury Park Press, as required by the local bond law.
Second,
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly,
yes.
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes.
Councilman Swindell,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
Yes,
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, thank you very much. Councilwoman Montone, please. 8A.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Taglerini, Deputy Mayor Martucci, and fellow council members. I would like to make a motion to introduce ordinance number 7-2021 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published by summary in the Tuesday, January 8th, 2021 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on June 17th, 2021 at 7:30 PM at the Municipal Building, 1 Aberdeen Square.
second.
An ordinance of the Township of Aberdeen authorizing the acceptance of a permanent roadway easement over and through portions of the land known as Lot 11 in Block 62 in the Township of Aberdeen, Monmouth County, State of New Jersey. Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
yes,
Councilwoman Kelly,
yes,
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes.
Councilman Swindell,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
Yes,
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, thank you very much. Councilman Cannon?
Mayor, fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda, which consists of resolutions 2021-84 and 2021-85.
second,
Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
yes,
Councilwoman Kelly,
yes,
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes.
Councilman Swindell,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
yes,
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, thank you very much. We're moving on to number 9, which is the hearing of the citizens, correspondence, petitions, whatever's on your mind. Just put your hand up, a thumb up, and both Brian and I will look to see if someone would like to be acknowledged at this point at all. And I'm going back the other way now, Brian. I don't really.
I think we're in a race there. No, I
Yeah.
have nothing either.
Okay, sir, I concur with that. With that said, we'll move on to item number 10. And I believe our manager will give us the executive session resolution.
Resolution authorizing Township Council to enter into executive session. Whereas the Township Council are mindful of the right of the public to attend and witness meetings of governmental bodies at which public business is discussed, and to be involved in all phases of government action. And whereas the Open Public Meetings Act nonetheless recognizes the authority of the public body to exclude the public from meetings in certain enumerated instances in which disclosure of matters discussed could endanger public safety, property, and other public interests, or invade individual privacy. And whereas, as authorized by the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12B, the Township Council have a need to meet in private session. Be it resolved that the Township Council will meet in private session at 8:25 PM on June 3rd, 2021 to discuss the following specific items: contractual, Keyport Marine Basin, and personnel.
A motion?
Motion on that, please. A second that? Yeah.
second.
Okay. All right. Do we need a roll call, Karen, or is that just?
I'll do a roll call. Councilman Cannon,
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch,
yes,
Councilwoman Kelly,
yes,
Councilwoman Montone,
Yes.
Councilman Swindell,
yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci,
Yes,
Mayor Taglerini.
Yes, thank you. And before we go to adjourn, let me just say, because I see both of these gentlemen still on the screen, I'd like to thank Captain Loy for for just paying attention to everything that's going on in the town when it comes to public safety, as we're planning all our events and for sitting in on some of those meetings. So thank you very much, Captain. And also to Lieutenant Hausman for taking an extremely active role in keeping the business. What's that? Okay, and to Lieutenant Hausman for taking an active role in the business community by coming to some EBC meetings and presenting such great ideas for their safety as they run their businesses. So thank you to the two of them. I didn't want to let the meeting go without thanking them. And now I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
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 Terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in Town Hall. And we're looking forward to it. We do mean that sincerely. And we'll see you then. Please be safe the next few weeks, and we'll see you then. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
I know.